I would like to extend a warm welcome to all members of the Cabinet, other members of the Council and officers in attendance at today's Cabinet meeting of the 5th of February 2025. Welcome to the members of the public and press who may be watching the meeting live on YouTube. I am Councillor Jill Cleary, Leader of the Council and Chairman of the Cabinet. I would now like to hand over to Democratic Services to read the housekeeping note.
Please note this meeting is being broadcast live on the Council's website and on YouTube. It will remain available for a minimum of 12 months. Please can those in attendance use your microphone when speaking and switch it off when you've finished. Please switch any mobile devices to a silent setting for the duration of the meeting. If the fire alarm rings, please can everyone leave the room immediately and use the nearest fire exit. Do not use the lift. Please go to the fire assembly point located at the bottom of the car park by the garages.
Please would members introduce themselves during the meeting if not already introduced by name. Apologies, I have none received from any Cabinet members. Leaders' announcement. I wanted to start by saying how helpful I found the recent briefing for members on the waste service changes. These have been in person and online and enable all members to champion the new service rollout and aid our staff response to resident queries. It certainly gave me a real understanding of the operational challenges of the new service rollout, and I know we have been wanting to see these for so long. We launched a website tool that residents can use to enter their postcode and find out when our new waste collection service will start in their area. Different areas of the district will start the new service at different times in 3 phases. From June 2025, residents in phase 1, which includes New Milton, Lymington and some surrounding areas, will start to use the new service. We will be sending residents in phase 1 a letter explaining how the new service will work. Phase 2 and phase 3 residents will also receive letters and leaflets nearer to their phase start dates. I also visited the new Hardley depot, which will be in operation later this month. I really am so proud to see the results of the substantial investment in the build and quality of the new depot and facilities, including the vehicle workshop. In terms of our assets, it is no secret that we as an administration have been considering the potential options for the future of Lymington Town Hall. With local government reorganisation now a clear priority, I have instructed our executive management team to pause on this as a project, and a letter has now been sent to our Town Hall tenants, including, of course, amongst others, the National Park Authority, Lymington and Pennington Town Council and the Police Authority, to confirm that they are welcome to stay in the building beyond their current lease expiry dates. Whilst I cannot speculate as to what the long term of the Town Hall might be, I can confirm that at this time, this authority is not looking to sell Lymington Town Hall. Item 1, minutes. Do Cabinet members agree the minutes of the meeting held on the 4th of December 2024 as a correct record?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do Cabinet members have any declarations of any pecuniary or any other interests in respect of the business for this meeting? None?
No.
Thank you. Item 3, public participation. None. Thank you. Item 4, financial monitoring based on performance April to December 2024. The portfolio holder to go to is Councillor Jeremy Heron. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. This is the third quarter performance report, financial monitoring report that you have before you. There are some budget variants on the general fund forecast, but it remains fairly static. The one with the significant change is the HRA, which is currently projecting 207,000 surplus. There are a number of variations proposed within the report. Net pressures of 39,000 regarding the waste transfer costs. As you're aware, there's a major project that we are seeing taking forward. Oh, my little microphone's gone off on its own. That's sort of nice of it. That is a major project that we're taking forward, and it's not surprising that we're seeing some unexpected costs occurring as we take that forward. Additional business rate costs and reduced income associated with Jubilee Park is also another pressure that we see on our finances of 248,000. We have some mitigation with a £50,000 reduction in the electric energy and public lighting costs, which is nice, and an additional 90,000 in SIL. The most significant change, obviously, within this report is within the salary increases, and we have the contingency which we are reallocating out of that 150,000 towards the devolution and LGR reserve. As you are aware, obviously that significant change above and beyond what we were expecting when we set this budget is undoubtedly going to draw on our reserves, and a further 346 being into the corporate priority reserve. HRA is again requiring 248,000, primarily towards works for void properties, which will obviously be a pressure on that. However, this is offset regarding 400,000 increased rental income and the 277,000 on that side's pay award. That, I think, is about it. I think what I've put forward. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Can I go to Paul Whittles, Assistant Director Finance? Paul, do you have anything else to add?
Not at this stage, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Right. Cabinet, do you have any comments or questions for Jeremy?
No, thank you.
I will go to the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, Chairman. Yeah.
Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Thank you. I've just got a question about the waste transition costs. I understand that the detail of some of them are in the last medium-term financial plan. I'm just curious, that's all, it's a genuine question, why 12,000 falls under a different portfolio of finance instead of all of it down in operation? I'm curious how yeah.
No, apologies. It affects a number of our services. So customer services falls within a different portfolio. So it's just the split of all the activity that's going towards the rollout of the new waste programme is just cross-cutting across a number of our services.
Okay, I'd cover all charge. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the floor?
No.
Thank you. Can I take the Cabinet to the recommendations on page 3? Are you agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 5, draft air quality strategy. The portfolio holder for this is Councillor Dan Paul.
Thank you, Chairman. New Forest District Council has no declared air quality management areas, and as directed by the Environment Act 2021, the Council must proceed to publish an air quality strategy to ensure air quality remains a high priority. Following the consultation process and consideration of the responses, the draft air quality strategy will be recommended for adoption. It is a legal requirement to develop an air quality strategy by local authorities with no declared air quality management areas. Report for your consideration.
Thank you. Can I go to our officer, Rachel Higgins, who is the Environmental Protection Team Manager?
Nothing further to add, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Cabinet, do you have any comments or questions? None? Right, I will go to the floor. Councillor Dowd.
Thank you. Philip Dowd, Hyde Central. I'm really pleased with a lot of this report. I think there's a lot of very good information in there. I'm particularly drawn to, on page 21, background point 9, improving beyond the objectives set by government. As you know from the last time I spoke on this issue, I think the government's targets for local authorities are woefully low, and we do need to do more, so it's good to see that. I'm a little bit concerned with some things though, so I'll just raise some of those now. In terms of stats, we've got specifics about people over the age of 30, but it doesn't mention one of the important vulnerable groups, which is infants and young children, where air quality is also extremely important. So I hope that there is more information on that forthcoming. The other one, of course, is about providing accessible public transport. And having sat through briefings from the county council where they've made it abundantly clear that they are not prioritising rural public transport, I think we have quite an issue being able to manage to progress on that one. The other thing is that we've got a whole list of people who've contributed to this report in terms of their stats, but we're missing out some of our country's leading authorities on air quality. For example, the Air Quality Expert Group, AQEG, that reports to DEFRA. We've also got a group, ERG, at Imperial College, and the AQMRC at the University of the West of England, who are international experts in air quality. And I would hope moving forward, we would be interested to see where their research is leading, and that will help to drive implementation of this report. That's probably enough from me now. Thank you.
Councillor Paul, can you answer the first question on infants and small children?
I'll certainly have a try. This is how the public health statistical data is reported with regards to air quality impacts, with the data provided by the Department for Health and Social Care. We can come back on this query to clarify why the data is presented for the over 30s. Young children are considered particularly vulnerable in terms of air pollution impacts and the part of our considerations within the strategy.
Rachel, do you want to come back on the other point of consulting all the other members?
Yes, I can. So all this work with air quality is already in liaison with all those groups you mentioned. They form part of government policy and guidance. So we're always keeping an eye on what they're coming out. So we're always in touch with them as a local authority as the guidance develops. They're the ones that form that guidance that we work to. So we're very much aware of what all the universities are putting forward and the expert air quality group as well.
Thank you. And on your second point of buses and rural transport, if the county council aren't going to pick this up, no amount of pressure from us is going to pick it up, but we will note your comments. And then I've got Councillor Steve Clark.
Thank you, Chairman. When this came through the panel, it was looked at fairly robustly. And I'd like to congratulate the officers in actual fact, because it's a good example of how we work across the agencies and with all the experts to come up with an absolutely excellent report. I don't deny the points that Councillor Dowd made, because there's always points that can be raised at any time. But I think we've produced a very good and very professional report that meets all the aims, and in fact probably is above all the aims that we need to meet. I'd like to commend the officers.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Now we've got Councillor Alan Glass.
Thank you. My ward actually contains the Esso refinery. Years ago, it used to be an absolute black spot. But by working with them for about 20 years, we've now got them to be not needed to keep requirements. I think this shows the progress that this council has made working with the local industry to make our air a lot cleaner. I think that's something worth noting, how well we've done. And by the way, on the buses, I know we can't do much about it, but we had a delegation from Calshot come to Fawley Parish Council, and we're doing what we can to try and improve communication because some of them can't even get to the doctor. Thank you.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that. I'm working in the background on that. Right. Any more questions? Oh, sorry, Malcolm.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, it is a very good report, and getting the best air quality for our district is undoubtedly the thing we should focus on as much as we possibly can. I just want to explore a little bit about this public transport thing, because public transport appears in this twice. Now, for this to be realistic, we need the report to be realistic. We've got encouraged and enhancing working with other aides. As the leader of the council says, it is Hampshire County Council, and we do not have a very big influence on it. Now, one of the issues is, one of the main pollutants is car emissions. The nature of our district is that we do not have a very sensible or very good public transport network. In fact, if you look at it, it's really quite poor. And everybody has to drive a car to get from A to B. So the question is this. Therefore, would it not be better to put in this report, we will try to enhance the public transport that we can, such as contributions to Hythe Ferry, for an example, because that will take people out of cars and will make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. I shall note your comments. Right, can I take you to the recommendations on page 19? Cabinet, do you agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 6, housing landlord antisocial behaviour strategy. The portfolio holder for this is Councillor Steve Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. The Council's current ASB policy was adopted in 2013. Subsequently, there has been significant shift in legislation, regulation and good practice. The Regulator of Social Housing launched its new regulatory framework on the 1st of April last year. The draft policies have been shared with TIG, that's our Tenants Involvement Group, and the draft proposals also reflect internal consultations. The Housing and Communities Overview and Scrutiny Panel on 22nd of January this year considered this draft antisocial behaviour strategy and the associated draft policies. Members fully supported the recommendation to Cabinet seeking approval of this draft strategy for public consultation and the process for implementing the strategy. You will note also that there are 4 clearly defined strategic priorities in the appendices. I'm very pleased to commend this report to the Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I go to Chris Pike, who is ASB, Antisocial Behaviour, and Neighbourhood Manager? Chris.
Nothing to add, Chair, thank you.
Okay, back to Cabinet. Cabinet, do you have any questions or comments? No? I will go to the floor. Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. Whilst this on the whole is a good report, I have a real problem with one part of this. On page 99, we talk about deprivation and child poverty. It says here, the New Forest ranks Slimmer Hampshire average while looking at income deprivation affecting children. 20.4% of all New Forest children, school children, are on free school meals. That's 1 in 5. That is not something to ignore. That is a big issue. And I don't think that is reflected in this report. And while it says we as a district rank very, very low in deprivation in terms, that's right. But that's because we have a massive wealth in many places, but the areas of deprivation are the equal of the top 10 in England. And to have 1 in 5 New Forest children on free school meals, which is a sign of child poverty, I think it's a damning area. And it's something that, this report should recognise because of the impact of antisocial behaviour and otherwise, but also we should look as a district to think, what can we do to make a difference?
Thank you. Councillor Davis, do you wish to respond?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, Malcolm, Councillor Wade makes a good point. The fact that this is raised as a specific highlight highlights the importance to us. Quite frankly, we've restructured our state management team to create a new neighbourhood team, and with people on the ground who are resolving these issues, and before they escalate. And the other part of the team focused on tenancy sustainment and support, linking vulnerable people up with the support and help they need when they need it. So we are taking steps on this, but it's a good point raised.
Thank you. Councillor Dowd.
Thank you. Yes, again, welcome this report, and I'm really looking forward to seeing coordinated partner working within the communities. I know there are issues with sharing data, but where it's possible, I think, as we know, our local police are still understaffed. They spend, I think it was at the last count, 40% of their time dealing with mental health issues rather than actually policing. So this is good. And I echo Councillor Wade's point. In a school that I'm a governor of, it's actually 25% of the intake are on free school meals. And one of the problems of dealing with percentages and things like that is it evens out pockets of deprivation that exist within our district. Thank you.
Councillor Glass. Oh, sorry. Let's go to Councillor Steve Clark.
Yeah, obviously there's actually three policies in this document in terms of antisocial behaviour, and I think one of the things that's important to note, this is actually a way of encouraging everybody in our community to live harmoniously together. And if you look at the wide range of things that cause annoyance and nuisance, from the sort of the easily defined antisocial behaviour to the less easily defined behaviours that annoy people, I think having policies like this not only meet our requirements as good landlords, they also encourage good community, people living together, acknowledging how we should live and how we should show respect to other people. So these are excellent reports to encourage that, and I commend the officers for producing them.
Thank you. Can I now take Cabinet to the recommendations on page 73? Agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Item 7, adoption of the revised statement of community involvement. The portfolio holder for this is Councillor Derek Tipp. Derek.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, the Statement of Community Involvement is a comprehensive legal document. It sets out how the Council engages with communities in the preparation of the local plan, and also how we carry out the determination of planning application, offer planning guidance, and allocate community infrastructure levy. The commitments set out in this document represent the minimum that the Council will do. I expect that on many occasions we will take opportunities to go over and above this minimum as we seek to engage with our communities over the coming months in new and innovative ways. In preparing the revised document, the Council recently completed a 6-week consultation on proposed amendments, which closed in December 2024. As part of the consultation, we engaged with town and parish councils and other key stakeholders and made use of specialist digital engagement tools to reach as wide an audience as possible. Whilst a low response was received to this consultation, this is not unexpected for such a document, and I'm thankful for the helpful comments that we did receive. These have led to some of the revisions set out in section 8 of the report. This report sets out proposed revisions to the Statement of Community Involvement following the recent public consultation. I'm asking Cabinet to recommend to the next full meeting of Council that the proposed revisions are approved and that the revised Statement of Community Involvement is formally adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just go to our Senior Policy Planner, which is Andrew Herring?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing further to add at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. back to Cabinet. Do you have any comments or questions for Derek? No, I will go to the floor. Blimey. He didn't raise his hand. Right, okay, let's go to the recommendations on page 119. Cabinet, are you agreed?
Agreed.
Item 8, local plan review, issue and scope consultation document. Again, this is the portfolio holder, Councillor Derek Tipp.
Thank you, Leader. This report sets out progress made on the local plan review ahead of the first stage of public consultation with the issues and scope document. Ensuring our council has an up-to-date local plan is very important, as without one we would be at risk of a greater number of speculative applications for development. Our new plan will ensure we get a design-led approach to growth. The government has also given a strong direction, emphasising the need for local plans to remain up to date and to progress reviews without delay, particularly in light of emerging devolution discussions and associated local government reorganisation. As you'll see in the report, extensive consultation has already taken place with various council officers and elected members who have contributed valuable insight into the issues and scope document. The consultation document sets out a broad range of issues that the local plan will need to address, but at this early stage it does not include specific development sites or policy proposals. Subject to the Cabinet's agreement, consultation will commence during mid-February, and we will widely publicise the dates to ensure as many people as possible have the opportunity to engage. The planning policy team will be hosting drop-in sessions at locations around our communities, providing residents with the opportunity to discuss the local plan directly with officers. A list of these locations will be published shortly and circulated to all members and more widely to the public via our website. We will also be engaging directly with town and parish councils and other key stakeholders, and will make use of specialist digital engagement tools to reach as wide an audience as possible. I encourage everyone to engage in the consultation when it starts in February, as your input will be crucial in shaping the future of our local area. I recommend to Cabinet that this issues and scope document is approved for consultation as set out in the recommendation to the report.
Thank you, Derek. Now I'd like to take you to James Smith, who is our planning policy team leader. James.
Thank you, Chair. No further comments at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the floor? Philip.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I mean, it's good that we've got clear intent to engage with town and parish councils. We know in planning issues there are tensions sometimes between town and parish councils and the district on planning decisions, and I think having a plan that minimises the possibility of those tensions is going to be absolutely key. And obviously, I think we all have a role to publicise the consultation. I'm already talking to people about it on the doorstep to say, look out for it. It's your opportunity to have your say. I think it's a big document, but I think it's also important to say people don't have to answer every question. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing a better response than we had last time. Thank you.
Yes, I fully agree. And whilst we are on YouTube, can I please make a plea to everybody watching? Please look at it. Please join in the survey to help us achieve the best possible outcome for our area. So let's take... Oh, sorry, I've got Steve Clark.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to follow on from what Councillor Dowd said, the Task and Finish group that's been involved with the officers on this has looked at this document and all 50 questions, and I'd like to thank the members and the officers who listened, because I think we've tried as far as possible to remove sort of planning jargon from some of the questions, and I say as far as possible, because some of the points, some of the questions raised are not going to be understood by easily by ordinary members of the public, because it's a very technical document in many ways. But I hope it's now easy to read, and to emphasise that I think many people will be only interested in certain aspects of the scoping document, and we should encourage everybody to read the whole document, obviously, but there are people who will know certain things about certain aspects of the I think it's 27 areas of scoping, which can add a great deal of value. So those who are experts outside of this council, I think we would welcome their input. And just sort of finally, just to acknowledge, I think it's probably very hard until you've seen the sheer amount of information and the statistics that come through on a document like this. It's some of the briefings that we've had from the officers on the information that they're trying to gather is absolutely incredible, and the size of the team that we have to employ to complete a document that's as professional as this is quite significant. So I think we need to acknowledge the great team that we've got putting this document together. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Christine Ward.
Yes, I just want to add to that, the amount of work is enormous, and I just want to congratulate officers and the Task and Finish group for their tireless, absolutely devoted to this paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I now take you, Cabinet, to the recommendations on page 193? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 9, Community Grant Funding 25 to 26. Portfolio holder is Councillor Dan Paul.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm delighted to introduce this report, as I was the previous report. Really good news. Always is when we're able to support the community. As you'll know, last year, many of you will recall, particularly Paul Ryan and the Task and Finish group members, we had a record year for applications. And this year we have streamlined the process, which has been both beneficial to Ryan and his team, the Task and Finish group members, but most importantly, those who have applied for grants, because we've been able to help more people due to the streamlining of the process, particularly channeling towns and parish councils towards the CIL side of it. So that has sort of taken a lot of the burden out of the grants pot. So I'm absolutely delighted to present this, and I ask for Cabinet support to do so.
Thank you, Councillor Paul. Can I take you now to Ryan Stevens, who is the Service Manager, Revenues, Benefits and Customer Services. Ryan.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing further to add at this stage.
Thank you. Cabinet, do you have any questions or comments for Dan? None? No. Okay. Let's go to Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Yeah, John, it's probably more a point than a question. As we all know, the County Council's imminent financial demise means they are unable to give out grants to any community organisations, even to the extent they are now reviewing the grant to county members. So there will be no county member grants available till September at the earliest, if at all, after that point. So I can't stress how important it is that grants from this district and from district members is important to our community organisations throughout the forest. So I welcome anything that is an enhancement to that.
Thank you. Councillor Peter Armstrong.
Thank you, Chair. Having been on the committee for 23 and this last year, I think those of us who are on there, and I'm sure the Chair this year will endorse this, that it really did work well to bring in different standards for this, as Councillor Paul has said, and to cut down so much of officer time. I think Ryan and those who have been working with it, I know will very happy with that. But the way that we're able to do grants this year really did spread across those, and signposting others to other grant processes and everything worked really well. to refine something and to make it better is always good, I think, as a council. So I think it's a thank you to those others who were on the panel, the Task and Finish group last year and in 23, because it's refined the process, which it makes it much better and clearer for those who are wanting grants and those who, how can I say, came really as us the one stop. That has stopped a little bit. They need to have other grants coming in. So the process, I think, has been refined very well, and I think all those in the offices should be very pleased with the process that's happened as a result of it.
Thank you for your comments. Right, Cabinet, I want to take you to...
Alan O'Sullivan.
Oh, sorry, Alan O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just pleased with the way that we've gone forward with this now, because of the change of the application level, that you actually increase the councillors' grant to 1,000 does now mean that they can help local organisations within their area, and if they club together with other organisations, they can even give bigger amounts to different groups. So I'm pleased to have that forward. And yes, it was nice to have the council, the officers to help us out on that. Thank you.
Right, I now wish to take Cabinet to the recommendations on page 262. However, I'd like to point out that the recommendations are in two parts, Part A and Part B, and I suggest that we consider the recommendations in Part A first. Are you agreed?
Agreed.
And then are you agreed with Part B?
Agreed.
Wonderful, thank you. Item 10, Asset Management and Replacement Programme and General Fund Capital Programme 2025 to 26. And we go back to Councillor Jeremy Heron.
Thank you very much, Chairman. As you say, this programme points out the Asset Maintenance and Replacement Programme for 25-26. The proposed Asset Maintenance Replacement Programme represents 2.5 million within the General Fund, with a further 390,000 within the HRA. Some of the key points within that as an investment within the health and leisure centres, although we now partner with their running, we still maintain the buildings. There are depot improvements at Marsh Lane and some staff welfare well-rewarded replacement of the new IT and wireless infrastructure. The replacement of 1.65 to cover revenue implications on our vehicles and plant replacement programme. There's an additional £1/3 £1 million coming from the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, and a separate report will be coming forth on how that will be spent. The council has, as we saw previously, committed 100,000 to the community grants programme, which is well received and takes money out and delivers on the ground within the community. Our capital programme for 25-26 represents 19.411 million, not insignificant fund. Within that, we are resetting the scope of the work within Appletree Court, an important change with the local government review. The payback period is now in question, and so it would be ill-advised at this moment in time to take that forward. So that is a reset on that. Further 2.43 million purchase of new vehicles across the council, specifically 3.7 million to fund new vehicles supporting the new waste strategy, and a further 4.55 million associated with wheelie bins and food caddies. I think there is a further 1.5 million delivery of the disabled facility and the Better Care Fund. And I think I'll leave it there for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go to Paul Whittall's Assistant Director Finance. Do you have any comments you wish to make?
Thank you, Chair. I think I'd just like to add that almost 50% of this is funded from external sources, grants and developer contributions, so it's, we're leveraging what we can from other parties. Thank you.
Well done, thank you. Do any members of Cabinet have any comments? Councillor Jeff Blunden.
Thank you, Leader. Just referring to paragraph 20 of the report, that's the public conveniences renovations. I think members would agree public conveniences are often undervalued, but they play a critical role in providing essential facilities for our residents and visitors, including those with disabilities, the elderly and families with young children, ensuring that everybody can participate in public life. Modern and well-maintained public conveniences can attract and boost the local economy by making our towns and villages, and indeed our coastal open spaces, more welcome and accessible. I understand and support the work undertaken to prioritise the projects within the funding available. However, devolution and local government reorganisation landscape has somewhat shifted things. As portfolio holder for this important service, I am pleased to see a separate piece of work is to be undertaken as part of the wider strategy of our asset review, and particularly welcome investment in our public toilets over the next 2 to 3 years to put them into a high quality standard to facilitate any transfer to either the new authority or more likely the relevant town or parish council. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you. I fully support that. And I extend the same logic to other asset holdings that the council has across our area. Jeremy, can I ask that you reflect this thinking and make financial provision in your final preparations of the budget and the updated MTFP, please?
Definitely. I think it is an important part of what we deliver and how we move forward in this administration, and happy to take that forward.
Okay. Cabinet, does anybody have any other comments or questions? No, I will go out to the floor. Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. I think that's a really important point, that we prepare for whatever the future holds, because we don't know exactly what shape or form that will be at the moment. But looking at our asset management strategy and indeed our medium-term financial plan, they're going to be heavily changed by what comes in the future. And being at the front foot with that, I think is really important. So I welcome that comment.
Anybody else from the floor? No, thank you. Can I now take Cabinet to the recommendations on page 289? Do you agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 11, Capital Strategy 2025 to 26, and we're back to Councillor Jeremy Heron.
Thank you very much. I think I need to bring in a rule that says there's only one financial paper per cabinet, personally. How I'll get away with that, I don't know. This is our capital strategy for 25-26. The strategy not only involves how we take forward the expenditure on the capital programme, but also ensures how we finance that capital programme and keep within the regulations as required. I would say very little on this, to be quite honest, as we go forward, except to confirm that we continue to maintain our £10 million cash liquidity reserves in order to keep us in a stable and sound financial position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, one other, obviously there are some changes, such as you mentioned in your own, the changes to the Livington Town Hall, and how we deal with that is obviously reflected within this.
Thank you. Let's go to Paul Whittles, Assistant Director of Finance. Paul, do you have any other comments?
Thank you, Chair. I think I'd just like to add that the programme is quite extensive and grown over the period, and our reliance on debt is growing as a consequence as part of the strategy, having exhausted many of our cash and internal resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Cabinet, do you have any further questions? No? Okay. I can't see any hands. So Cabinet, can I take you to the recommendations on page 301? Are you agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Right. Item 12, Scheme of Members' Allowances, report of the Independent Remuneration Panel, known as IRP, and scheme to apply from 1st of April 2025. I'd like to take you directly to Matt Wisdom, who is Service Manager of Democratic and Support Services.
Thank you, Leader. So this is the second of 2 reviews commissioned by the Cabinet for an independent review of members' allowances. And this particular review was discretionary and sought to reflect on the electoral review of the District Council, where we saw a reduction in the number of councillors and a change in governance arrangements. So the independent panel's recommendations are outlined in full at Appendix 1, and then a draft scheme is at Appendix 2, which is indicative of the recommendations put forward by the panel. Minimal changes really put forward by the panel on this occasion. They did reflect that each councillor now serves an additional number of electors, having reduced the number of councillors. And they sought then to tidy up the basic allowance and also the leaders multiplier, which then forms how all of the other special responsibility allowances are derived. And they recommend continuing with the indexation to the National Pay Award for staff. It's worth noting, I think, the financial implications, which concludes the process of the electoral review, where that ongoing savings has been made as part of the medium-term financial plan, but also the encouragement of the independent panel to promote 2 particular policies within our scheme. That's the dependent carers allowance and the parental leave policy, which I think are acknowledged that hopefully will remove barriers from certain sections of the community to stand as councillors. So we'll continue to promote those, and I think the ask is that local political groups do the same in their recruitment processes as those 2 things. I think that's about it, Leader, unless there are any questions.
Thank you. We certainly will promote that. It's 2 very good schemes. Cabinet, do you have any other questions, points? No, I'll open it to the floor. Everybody's happy. Right, Cabinet, I would like to propose that the full recommendations of the Independent Remuneration Panel and the scheme of members' allowances to apply from the 1st of April 2025 are recommended to Council for approval. Do you agree?
Agreed.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I know it's been a very long meeting to sit through, but thank you so much for the officers and your participation and help with all the reports. This meeting is now closed.